Well, it is a great joy of mine to be standing beside Kristin Ohlson. She's an author, and I want you to tell me the title of the book and then give me a little input as to how you came to write about this.
Well, the book is called The Soil Will Save Us, How Scientists, Farmers, and Foodies Are Healing the Soil to Save the Planet. And, I originally started off being more interested in writing about food, and then learned from a chef who was very interested in the quality of food that it's no good unless the soil is good.
And although a lot of Americans now are really starting to think more about soil, but really, how long ago was that chef meeting that you had?
Well, that was a couple of years ago, or 5 or 6 years ago.
Yeah.
But he was really ahead of his time. He would call up state legislators and say, this bill that you're considering, that's really going to be bad for the soil. And they would say, what do you care? You're a chef.
Well, yeah, and so that says a lot about a lot of us and how we think about soil, because it really is just something we walk on. It's where we exist.
Right, yeah, I always love to think that we talk about, I'm standing on solid ground, I'm on solid ground, but it's really not solid.
Right.
You know, there's all this life going on in the soil that creates pockets and tunnels and channels and all that stuff going on beneath our feet, and that structure in the soil created by the life in the soil is what holds water and moves nutrients around. So it's a very active medium that we're standing on.
It is just as much alive as the plants that we actually see growing in the soil, isn't it?
Right. I mean, it's the best way to think about what's happening when we put a plant into the ground is that, we're sort of setting up what we hope we're doing is we're setting up an ecosystem. We're facilitating an ecosystem coming together with the microorganisms in the soil, the fungi in the soil, those bigger things in the soil, and microorganisms and insects above the soil line too. All these things are working with the plant.
They all interact.
Yeah.
And one of the things I found interesting that I've read about people that are excited about stuff in the book was that a lot of us now are thinking of things like nitrogen, and we're aware of that more, but carbon was the thing that you talked about.
Right. I mean, so this chef that originally started me thinking about soil, he said, there are these farmers out there and they're called carbon farmers, and they're all about building up the amount of carbon in the soil instead of depleting it, which is what most agriculture does. And, when he told me that, it was just like somebody had flipped a switch, and I thought, oh my God, this is our way to deal with climate change, with warming, because even if we stopped every single emission, every single fossil fuel emission right now, the planet would continue to warm because we've got this legacy load of carbon dioxide up there. What we need to think about is drawing it down, bringing it down, and that's what plants do. Plants are pulling carbon out of the air, using some of it to grow, but stashing a lot of it in the ground, in the soil with those microorganisms.
And because it is like everything is connected, whether we agree or get frustrated with it or whatever it is, we don't understand. It's there, and this book really helps, especially gardeners to me, because I'm an avid gardener, helps us understand the connection of the planet itself to our gardens even.
Right.
So, and do you find that you get a lot of, when people read it, do they send you questions that surprise you, or do you go, no, those are good questions because they're answering these questions? Do you get a lot of that interaction?
I don't get a lot of people questioning. I think a lot of people say, like me, when I first heard about it, they say, oh my God, it all is starting to make sense now. And so I hear from a lot of farmers who are going off on this path away from conventional agriculture. They're stopping tillage, they're putting in cover crops, they're cutting back on the chemicals or eliminating them. So I hear from a lot of people sort of on this path to healthier
Going
soil.
Forward with it. Nice. Well, you know that we love gardening at Garden Time, and we also really try to educate us about the whole cycle of gardening, and a great book for that is to read this one. So for more information, you can go to gardentime.tv. We'll click you over to her website. You can find out where you too can purchase this great gardening book. Thank you so much, Kristin.
Thank you.